morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with my new friend, Susie Beiler. Hi.
Hi.
So, Susie, this is going to be such a wonderful experience talking to you today and letting people know in my audience about you as a resource as they're navigating all these changes in energy and in the world and in themselves as they're coming to awareness of how they want to be creator beings rather than victims of everything. So, Susie, why don't we start with you live in Sedona, but you didn't always live there. How? And I love Sedona. Oh, and I also want to make sure people know that the way I got to meet Susie was through my dear friend Sheila Gale.
Yes.
So who's a doll, who's just amazing, who is a magical being. So I assumed you're magical just from that. But I know you are. So anyway, so do you want to talk about your journey a little bit so people can get a feel for you and maybe identify with you and see how you have been a warrior light worker really in pushing through the illusion of this reality.
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up Mennonite in Pennsylvania. And for those who don't know, Mennonites, there's a broad spectrum. There are some very conservative and some very liberal. We were on the more conservative side. It's a part of the Christian religion. And so it was the way I grew up was very, like I was in a box. I was very sheltered from culture and society, and it was a different reality than most people lived. And to this day, people will mention a movie or a song, and I won't know what they're talking about. Something that I supposedly grew up with.
Wow.
So it was sheltered in some ways. And then I had a lot of health issues very, very young. And then, I sought out all sorts of holistic remedies and things to help, because there was always something in me that knew, like, I don't have to suffer with this. This isn't something that's lifelong, even though the doctors are saying it is. This isn't something I'm going to have to deal with forever. And so I just kept seeking out, different forms, different modalities to help me. And I landed on an acupuncture table and had a miraculous awakening experience where my body was fully healed. And so that started me out on this journey of this spiritual understanding of life, this spiritual lens through which I live my life. And after that awakening experience, I really went deep into self-healing and understanding why I had health issues in the first place, and how the body, the spirit, the mind all work together, how the energetics all work together, and how they land in the body and form disease or not, if we deal with things before they land in the body. And so it really set me out on this path of deep understanding of how everything works.
Oh, that's cool. So was it really, well, first of all, you had to have been fearful to leave what you already knew and the comfort and the knowledge of that, because it's programmed into us. But you jumped out of the box, basically, got yourself healed, and then probably started questioning everything. I mean, because it's disorienting. That's what I found. It's disorienting when you look around and go, whoa, if that wasn't real, maybe
Right.
this isn't real.
Right. Well, I was very fortunate because I had a mentor, and I still have a relationship with him 18 years later.
Oh, cool.
I was very fortunate to have someone to help me on this path. And, Kathy, that's really why I do what I do today, is because the value I got from having that mentor, from having his guidance in my life, he helped me come back to my soul and to myself. He never told me what to do. He always brought me back to me. And so that's really why I do what I do today and why
Yeah.
I'm so motivated and inspired on this path is because I know the value of having someone like that in your life. There's nothing that's more valuable than having a guide, having someone to bounce ideas off, having someone that gets you and understands you. Like,
Yes.
that is so valuable in this world because, yeah, you wake up out of what you are used to experiencing, and there's a whole new world, and then there's, like, all this multidimensional stuff to navigate, and it's a lot to understand and a lot to figure out, and to figure out how to navigate and what direction to go and which step to take and which person to collaborate with, all these things.
Wonderful.
And when you have the understanding of how to come back to your own knowledge and wisdom, then you know which steps to take and you know how to use the guidance. And that that relationship with my mentor just really set me off on the right path early on in my awakening. If I didn't have that, yeah, I don't know how people do it, honestly, Kathy. I
Yeah.
don't know people who are newly awakening. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
Our creator said a while ago that, as all of this unfolds, that some people will go into psychosis. Some people will experience, intense physical illness and things of that nature because they don't understand the greater perspective of what's happening.
Right. Right. Well, and the thing is we don't know what's right for anybody, but I I totally relate to being popped out. And then in my case, I was always weird, but I always saw and heard things that other people didn't. But I learned to never say anything. But
Mm,
in 19 years ago, I had a spiritually transformative experience, and then probably within a day, I was in the airport afterwards, and I'm looking around,
oh my
and
goodness.
it's like, whoa. And if you listen to Dolores Cannon stuff, where she'll say that not all those people are real that are in the airport, some of them are part of the play and they're extras, I think she calls them. And
Yeah,
that's the way it felt, was like, whoa, what's real here? It really felt like a set in a
yeah,
movie, not reality.
yeah.
So yeah, it's I haven't had language for a lot of it. That's what a lot of my searching has been, is how to hold more light in the vessel and how to express this incredible love that
Mm,
you're bathed in when you touch who
mm,
you really are, what source really
yeah.
is it's hard to articulate. It's hard to allow yourself to receive that grand gift, right?
I have a lullaby that I wrote, and part of it goes, "Wrap me in a warm blanket of your love." And the feeling of that is what you just described.
Yep.
It's like
Yep.
just being held in love and yeah.
Well, but it's also, it's because we grew up with conditional love. We didn't grow
Right,
up with unconditional love. It was, if you were a good girl and you did follow the rules, you got this, or a
right.
material reward. So when you experience that other, you may have thought even in church that you had that spiritual connection, but that was still a pass through somebody else to get.
Yeah, I think it depends, because I grew up in the church and I had my own relationship with God. I didn't have to, pray to a priest or a pastor or something. I communicated directly with God. I had a personal relationship.
Huh.
So I think it depends on the person and their experience and all of that, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so, but I think a lot of people are finding that they gave their power away, or that
Yeah.
whole sinner,
Yes.
sinner Christed, sinner saint, and it's still very male. It's not really very female either.
Yeah. Oh, I wanna say something to that. I wanna say something to that because
Good.
they gave their power away because they gave responsibility away.
Mm.
So, if you look at the construct of the doctrine, Jesus saves you from your sins. You don't have any responsibility in that. Now, this is a generalization because every church kinda does it differently, and some people, you go to Bible study and you do take accountability for your actions and, you are doing the work. But a lot of the way I was taught was like, you once you give your life to Jesus Christ and he saves you, then you're good to go. And and it's like, when you give away your responsibility to continue to work on yourself, you give your power away. And that actually is a nice transition into talking about the Soul Power Symposium, because what I'm all about is we do need to take responsibility for our actions, for our thoughts, for our emotions, for what we emanate from our beings, right? We do need to take responsibility for our choices. And so I feel called to teach people how to do that, how to take that responsibility, how to get that power back.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
let's talk some more about the. I didn't know about the Soul Power Symposium #1, but could you tell us a little bit about the history from #1 to #2? And I don't know if you saw, I made a little video of the website. I put a short up
Yes,
on YouTube.
yes.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
but I think we should talk about this incredible gathering
Yeah,
of teachers, basically, that have
yeah,
all different perspectives that could help people with their journey right now. They said March is going to be March, April this year is going to be really big. So this is like the perfect time to
yeah.
do this work. But
No,
I
the energy's primed.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, it hasn't stopped. I mean, for
No.
those of us that are sensitive, it's like, whoa, that was a big wave. You're like trying
Yeah,
to stay on top.
yeah, yeah, and wave after wave after wave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So could you talk about the first one and tell us about the journey so that we
yeah,
can understand?
yeah, sure, yeah.
Thanks.
So, originally, I was given this vision of planet Earth, and around planet Earth, there was this grid of lights, and as I observed, there were lights popping on all over within this grid around the planet. And I was like, "Oh, wow, this is beautiful. What is this? What am I seeing?" And the answer I got was that these lights that are turning on are people's souls. Now, it's not that our souls aren't already lit, because they are. That's how souls are. But the awakening at the human level, where people's souls were merging with the humans and people were turning on and remembering who they are, that's what I was seeing, these lights popping on within the grid. And so I was like, wow, this is beautiful. How can I be a part of this? Is there anything I can do to facilitate these lights turning on? And so then the Soul Power Symposium was born out of that. And so we had season 1 back in June, and it was just a beautiful event where, you know, myself and a bunch of speakers collaborated to bring through soul codes and energy signatures to activate people into their soul mission. And then it was time to do another one and bring through even more energy. And I'll tell you, Kathy, this one, the energy of this one's off the charts. Uh, there's a couple factors, the caliber of speakers that have stepped up to serve with me, my own soul journey, and what I've left behind in order to embody more light, in order to bring more potency through the container. And then just everything that's happening on the planet, the momentum that's been generated by the streams of light coming to the planet for the last several years and amplifying in power over the last several months, all of that is aligned with the symposium. We really, I always follow divine guidance and timing. And so I was guided to release it now, unbeknownst to me, exact reasons why I don't follow astrology and all that stuff. I just listened, I just listen internally. But what I'm seeing now is that this time is really setting people up for the ability to choose living their soul mission, executing their life purpose. And so with season 2 of the symposium, what we're doing is bringing through a lot of energy signatures, a lot of soul codes to really galvanize those people who want to move forward in their soul mission.
Perfect.
The codes are all there in the symposium. They're all there for you. We have you covered.
That's so cool. So the thing that I'm excited about is that this is becoming so available to people. I mean, before it used to be that you would have to go through, like if you think about the ancient teachers, you had to be in a mystery school, right, and you had to go through jump through, get your this belt and that belt and this belt. You had to go through all these levels in order to have to expand your awareness of the field and to use it, because we're supposed to be playing. We forgot. But but anyway, what's so great about this is it's free, and these are all incredible beings that have so many gifts and so many perspectives of how you can be empowered. That's the key, I think, and maybe that's just my perspective. I like the idea of showing and then having somebody go do it rather than them relying on me. So that's what I think you're doing, is you're giving people, it's like a library of content, right?
It truly is, Kathy. Yeah. That's a great word for it. It truly is a spiritual library of content to help people on their soul journey. So whether you're just starting out or whether you're 30 years in, there's always more growth, right? There's always more. And so what I love about having different speakers collaborate is each one brings unique energy signatures, each one brings different codes, and each one brings a resonance for the attendees. So if you're participating in the symposium and you listen to one speaker and you're like, yeah, I don't know about that, listen to all of them, because you're going to find at least one, at least, I guarantee you, at least one where you're going to get some wisdom and nuggets that really hit you and land with you. And you're like, oh, that's why I needed to sign up for this,
Well, I think it's there's so many different species of humans. I mean, seriously, on this planet, that each one of them is going to have a resonance with a different person or different subject, because where they are in their journey, they may need just a little bit of help in one subject, but they feel like they got it covered in the other. And this is not, everything is happening so fast that when you get information like this, you can apply it right away. So you don't have to suffer anymore. That's the key. I mean, this was supposed to be fun. We didn't get that memo.
No, I didn't get that memo. I'm still working on deciphering that memo, Kathy.
Oh, come on. You just make it that way. So I do have the website queued up if you'd like me to pull it up, and then that way you could show the speakers. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'll set you up. Hold on one sec. Okay. So you can keep talking while I do this if you want.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We have a lot of really beautiful people that have stepped up to serve in season 2 of the Soul Power Symposium. Kathy, obviously, being one of them. And we have David Maria, who works with the central channel and the Kundalini energy and offers a really beautiful invitation for us to gently activate our central channel. And we have Aurora Luna Star. She actually lives here in Sedona as well, and her fun and playfulness just radiates throughout the entire transmission that she and I do together in her presentation, and it's just really playful and light and so much fun. And here we go. All right, look at this. Now I won't have to pull everyone from memory. Awesome. We have Michelle Barr, who's another conscious businesswoman, a spiritpreneur, I'll call her. And so we had a really beautiful conversation as well. And then Brian Besco, he's someone that I've known for years and years, and we go deep into like some soul architecture stuff, which is really fun. And of course, we mentioned Sheila Gale. She's not quite my neighbor. She lives a little further away from me, but she's here in Sedona also. And she's been working with ADHD and some, neurodivergent ways of thinking and being. And so that's a really powerful conversation for those of you who feel like your brain doesn't work the same way as everyone else's.
Yeah.
You're not alone. Angelia LaRue, oh my gosh, this was a deep, deep conversation. And I pulled her to the edge to discuss some topics. I'll just say that. So be sure to catch that one. If you like new and different things. And then Shannon Leichner, I had a unique experience with her because there was just some silent transmission, which, most of these are talking and conversing and, we're bringing through codes as we do a meditation together or whatever it is. And we had a moment of silence, which was a little bit different. So that was a unique one. Mentioned David Maria, Nico Martins. We talk about the soul of technology, and he has a product that he works with called the Cosmic Tower, which is really unique. And they're exploring how consciousness can live within technology. And this is a topic that I'm very fascinated by. And so we go deep into that. It's a fascinating conversation and transmission from him. And then of course we have our dear Kathy and Victoria Reynolds. Gosh, she's someone new in my world, but she's an old friend from lifetimes and eons ago. And so we got to connect on a deep level through our conversation. So be sure to catch her. And then Sharon Rose just brought through this beautiful soul embodiment experience for us all to go through and be activated with. And then Derek Rydell, longtime favorite of mine, because every time I'm in his presence in any capacity, there's always this it's more than an activation. There's this camaraderie that I feel with him. There's this, he's my soul brother, and there's just this, when the two of us come together, the amplification of soul power, it's just there. We come from the same lineage or something, it's just there. And so definitely catch his presentation. And mentioned Aurora, and then Naomi Sweet. She's a dear sister, and we go into all things, soul and galactic. And then Alexia, she's actually in Cyprus. So it's just really a beautiful blessing to have her here from across the globe. And, we go into some Christ codes and things to help us activate and awaken in that way. And every speaker has offered a process, a healing, an activation, something practical to really help you activate your own soul power surrender and rest into the remembering of who you are at the soul level. It's just really beautiful how generously everyone has stepped up to serve in this.
Well, this was such a perfect timing to do this, as far as in consciousness of everyone coming out of the past years of a whole different reality. Now, I was in Sedona a couple of times during the lockdown, and I didn't really feel anything there was changed hardly. But
there were a few things for sure.
not much, not compared to up here. My goodness, it was so much better. And
Yeah.
so the energies were so much more um, grounded in earth energy, which is really what I hope this whole time period's about, is reconnecting to our electromagnetics of the earth.
We're grounding into the new earth.
Right. Okay, so how about telling us what you see is the new earth?
Well, for me, and I believe everyone has a different vision, and some of them overlap and some of them are unique. So I'll share my vision of the new earth, and that's where we have lush gardens and happy, healthy, organic food to eat anytime we want. We have clean air, clean water, clean skies. There's just a pristine frequency to nature, and nature's really alive and able to support us in a different way than it does now. I'm not saying that right now nature's not alive. That's not what I'm saying. But there's a new, fresh energy, a new aliveness on the planet, and everything is working together. We as humans collaborating, we work together in harmony. Everyone's living their soul mission, meaning everyone is happy in what they're doing because they experience deep fulfillment from living from their soul and their hearts. And there's no more having to, do something just to pay the bills, or, be at a job that you don't like. The humans are really enjoying what they're doing. And then our relationship with animals has changed as well. We commune with animals in a different way. There's a healthy respect where there needs to be, and then there's a deeper communion for the animals and the humans that are ready. And I see that now to some degree. Like, I'll go out into nature and I'll run into rattlesnakes and whatever, and I have no fear around it. It's just they're my brothers and sisters. I've seen pictures of people holding birds and hummingbirds and things like that. I see those things happening on the new earth, where we're living in harmony with all beings.
Yes, I agree. I see the same, because the indigenous who were close to the earth, they understood the patterns, the unseen, and felt the unseen world, and were able to work in harmony with it. And we just forgot. We had a layer of the dark ages.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so I have another question for you about soul.
Okay.
Because I got to do an event last weekend with a bunch of people that were near-death experiencers. I love all of that stuff. I love the field that they live in when they come back.
Yeah.
And do you feel that your soul is... Okay, so I'm not sure if this avatar projection of a body houses as much soul as I can have it contain, or if my soul, the connection, the little bit of light is here, and I'm an antenna to my soul, or my soul's this whole field. What is your perspective of soul?
All of it. So
that's what I mean. It's like people go, well, no, it's this. And it's, I don't know.
Well, so soul is limitless. And in our human minds, we try to form an understanding of what it is and how it works. by the way, the first day in the symposium, you will hear all about soul from Prime Creator. So if you're fascinated in that understanding, make sure you tune in to January 23rd. But it's interesting, Kath, because I was actually given a vision yesterday of our human. It's like tiny little thing. And as we get activated into more and more dimensions and into more and more expansion, that soul light that, it is within our human, if we choose to embody it, that soul light then goes out into this massive expansion. And I see it as a journey. Prime Creator talks about how as the soul grows and expands, there are fractals that, just keep going out and keep going out. And if you've ever watched a YouTube video of fractals, it's kind of like that. And so this vision that I had yesterday was, it started at the human, grounded in to the human body. And then the soul was it just kept expanding and going out and up and out and up and down and around. And, just this massive expansion process.
Well, the reason I'm asking is that when I had my spiritually transformative experience, when I came back, I went, oh, okay, this one will work this time. I mean, it was real obvious that this was temporary, and it was just a grain of sand in a huge spotlight of what I really was.
Yes.
And I was a tributary off of source. Yes. That was this river, and very similar, like the colors that you have behind you. Mine had a little orange and red in it too. So there's a little bit of fire there. But this was so minute compared to what I really had the capacity of. So that's why when these people talk about, oh no, you're an avatar, you're projected from like a ship somewhere, and it was like,
I don't resonate with that, but what I do resonate with is the importance of embodying your soul. Because it's just like a tree. A tree cannot grow up and out if it doesn't have deep roots. If you've ever seen like the cross section of the tree where the roots need to be just as deep as what's above the ground, if the soul is not embodied in the human, all of that attempted expansion, what does the human do with that? They become very ungrounded. They become very scattered. And so, like, you think about people who are all in their upper chakras, as an example, maybe they're all heart, and it's beautiful and it's great. But if they're not fully embodied, if they're not grounded in, then what do they do with all that beautiful energy? It's limited.
Right.
And so that full embodiment of the soul is important. And even though it's just a tiny, tiny piece, like a grain of sand, and then the soul goes, outward from there, that is a key important piece. And a lot of people miss that. And that's why they struggle getting somewhere in life. That's why they struggle moving forward. That's why they feel like they're continually suffering. And part of that embodiment of the soul is fully accepting yourself as a human. And that's where a lot of people get tripped up because, this experience is sometimes hard. There's a lot of density and this body gets sick, or this body, doesn't do what you think it should do or whatever. And so that piece of accepting yourself as a human first, that's when you can actually embody your soul essence. Because if you're rejecting yourself as a human, you're rejecting a massive part of this experience. You chose a human body for a reason. If you weren't meant to be human right now, you'd be in another form or not in a form at all as a soul. Right? Is what I'm saying making sense, Kathy?
Yeah. I wanted to ask about that too, because I always say that we won the lottery. We stood in line to get these bodies to be here right now. Yeah. And what were we thinking? But anyway, just kidding.
But I do resonate with that.
So,
Yeah.
so if that's the case, then that awareness, that changes the whole victim scenario. So
Changes
I'd
everything.
love for you, because you're doing this wonderful work with people, I'd love for you to share some, I don't know if you'd call them successes or changes that you've seen with some of the people that you've worked with, that was, you don't have to name names, but talk about a journey so that people that are here that may be looking for a resource like you could maybe identify with the changes.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of what I do is a lot of activation. So people, after they work with me and while they work with me, start remembering their spiritual gifts and talents. And part of that is, my intuitive ability to point out something that is inherent to them and they don't realize is a talent. It's like, yeah, this is actually unique to you. Not everyone has this skill, right? So I'm really good at pointing that out for people. And then in the work that we do together to heal any, inner child wounds or any traumas that have happened in your life that have been holding you back from the full expression of your soul, we do that work as well. And so what ends up happening for people is, they get healthier. Maybe they lose weight, or, maybe they get stronger in their body. But they start to get healthier because embodying your soul light means that it illuminates you. So anything that is, not meant to be part of your experience anymore, whether it's at the physical level, emotional, spiritual, energetic, whatever, once you heal those things, then you embody more light, your frequency goes up, and then your body can spontaneously heal. And so it's this really powerful process of healing what's in the way of you moving forward, and then having the courage to take those steps. And so when people work with me, I'm holding their hands so they have a little bit more courage to take the steps. But really, the most important thing about what I do is what my mentor did for me, and that is bringing you back to yourself, bringing you back to your wisdom, your knowledge, your spiritual gifts and talents, your knowing of how to navigate this life, learning to use your body as a tool for discernment, and your body is a vessel to say, yes, do this, no, don't do that, yes, go here, no, don't go there, yes, talk with this person, teaching you how to use your body in that way. And so when people work with me, there are those tangible things that I mentioned, and then there are those intangibles that, Kathy, they're kind of hard for me to describe
Right.
because it has so much to do with the energetic signatures and codes that I bring that are unique to me. And because of the journey that I've been on, because of the inner work that I've done, because of the space I've cleared within my vessel and within my life, that stuff can flow through with more potency and power. And so those are intangibles. Those are things that I haven't yet found words how to fully describe how they affect people.
I understand.
Yeah.
And also because you're on assignment, kind of.
Yeah.
Um, mo-
100%.
yeah,
Not
me
kind
too.
of.
Me too. It's like, you want me to do what?
Yeah.
Well, okay, so my next thing I wanted to talk about is dragons. Would you talk a little bit about dragons and the high frequency of them, and
Yeah.
how
Can
you
I
connect with them?
can I grab a prop?
Sure, sure.
I don't
Yay.
know if it's how I connect with them or how they connect with me or both.
Perfect, perfect.
Oh,
Okay, you have to put it right towards
great.
your face. There we
There
go.
we go.
There we go.
All right, so that's the children's book I wrote. And that literally was, people say, I got to download, it's a like a funny new age thing that we make fun of ourselves for.
Uh-huh.
I got another download. That literally was a download. I was sitting in nature and the story was given to me. And so I put it in my voice notes in my phone and then, sat there for months. And my friend was like, you need to write this down. Hello, turn this into a book. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Okay. So I did all that. But I am in Chinese astrology. I am a fire dragon.
Oh,
So I guess like inherently within my chart and my being, I have that connection. But I've always, not always, but since I've come to Sedona, I think there's been more activation of dragon energy for me. Uh, there are a lot of dragons here. My understanding of dragons is that they are creator beings and they are very powerful creator beings, and they have been demonized in a lot of ways, which is, some of them have served the shadow. So yeah, I guess that's deserved for those beings. But a lot of dragons are they're really gentle beings. They're very expanded. A lot of them are 12th dimensional beings and beyond. And for a year, I channeled the blue dragons, who are 12th dimensional beings. And my experience with them is that they're very lovely creatures and they're here to help us on this planet. They're here to bring us support energetically and physically, even in some cases. They're here to really serve, and we just need to ask for their help if we want it.
yeah. So in my experience, I had a reading and they told me I was a dragon rider. And I kept on saying, are you sure that reading was for me? because it was, I have seen dragons in readings I've done for others where they were working with the next grid system. There's a grid system up to 5D, and then there's another grid system around the earth for the next layer, and that's 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. So I thought dragons were in there. I didn't know they could go all the way to 12th.
Yeah. Oh, I think they're probably in there too. Yeah. Just the experiences that I've had were with the ones from the 12th dimension. But yeah, to be fair, I haven't asked about the other experiences I've had. So
yeah. So I'm fascinated because there's so many unseen beings available to us. How do you suggest people get connected to their angels and guides and elementals and dragons and all of the beings that are really sitting around going like this? Wait.
Yes. Well, my first suggestion is to get connected to yourself. It's like I was describing before. If you connect to all these other things and other dimensions and all these other frequencies, but you're not grounded in yourself first, it can really destabilize you. It can make you scattered. It can lead to psychosis. It can be very ungrounding. It's something really important. A lot of people, want this experience, like, oh, I want to feel my guides and I want to levitate and I want to, astral travel and like all these things that people think they want. And I'm not saying those things are bad, but I'm saying first, you need to be connected with yourself, accept yourself as human, go through that healing journey to really heal yourself and accept yourself for who you are. And then once you connect with yourself and your own inner voice, if that desire for external connection is still there, then you have a foundation upon which you can start making those connections.
Perfect. Yeah. I think that's very powerful. But I have also seen that people need the bravery, the I got your back feeling of having their angels or their guides around them as they do that, because the shadow work is it's profound. There's a lot of our essence. I mean, that yin yang symbol is really true.
Yeah, this would be a curious conversation to have with men versus with women.
Oh,
Because, the feminine essence needs the masculine in order to feel that safety to do what you just described. And in my conversations with men, yes, they want to feel the safety also, but for some of them, it's more inherent,
oh,
and
interesting.
they don't have the same orientation to what we're just
Ah,
talking about.
oh, they
So
don't have physical fear. They don't have fear for their physical well-being in the same way we do.
yeah, there is some of that energetic fear still there, and I've just barely scratched the surface of this, really. I just think it would be an interesting conversation, because you and I are talking about it from the perspective as women, and I can tell you as a woman, it's really important for me to have the masculine energy with me to be able to do what I do.
Yes,
It's vital.
yes.
Even if it's not, physically a person or a partner next to me, to still have that masculine energy with me so that I can, expand and bloom and blossom in all of that. I think it's different for a man.
Yeah. So do dragons have gender?
Yeah,
Oh,
some of
okay.
them. Yeah, and it may depend on which dimension they're in.
Oh,
Um, you know, as we get towards the higher dimensions, sometimes there is like more of an androgynous feel. That's what I've sensed. I don't know if that's true. I haven't asked about that, but that's just my sense of things. Um, I I feel like I feel like the closer to this dimension they are, the more, male and femaleness there is.
yeah, yeah. So I want to let people know if you're out of the country or if you haven't been to Sedona, that there's actually places that you can walk on trails where you actually feel like you just went into another dimension and you're just walking on the ground and there's almost like you went into a bubble.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is so beautiful, the energy, the love energy. I remember the last time I was there walking through and it just started crying. It was
You
just
remember where you were when you experienced
yeah,
that?
I don't know. I could probably figure it out. No, I wasn't driving. I was a guest. I know the person who took me there though, so they know where I was.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in Sedona. But
Well, there are all different flavors here, so I was just curious, like, what
yeah.
specific spot it was, but it
Oh,
doesn't
well,
matter.
all I know is that when we get aware that there is so much more, quantum physics is just starting to talk about this and
Mhm.
make this mainstream. And people like Dr. Joe Dispenza are just starting to talk about our capacity to use our brain in a different way and
Yeah.
reconnect to who we really are and change the projection of this to a healthier projection. We're in the cusp of a whole new understanding of who and what we are
And what we can do.
and what we can do. So
Yeah.
that's where Susie comes in, is what we can do. So
Yeah.
do you want to share some more about that?
Well, I just wanna say it goes back to the importance of first being human and first mastering your human body, because when you learn to do some of that, then you can start to expand into other realms and dimensions. And I'll share a story. When I first came to Sedona, I the first week I was here, I met a seer, someone who was psychic ability. And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, you need grounding," something like that, he said. And I was like, huh? Because I've been pretty grounded all my life. That was never something I had to work on. And then a few years later, I started channeling Prime Creator, which is a very high frequency. And as a few months into that, I started to become a little ungrounded. And I remembered his words and I was like, "Oh, now I get it. Yes, I need grounding."
Right.
And so as I've been activating my multidimensional self, grounding has become extremely important for me as a spiritual practice and discipline. And there are times where it's just so important that I get out in nature, put my feet on the ground, put my body on the rock, lay on the dirt, whatever, and reestablish that connection.
Yes. I think that it's so above, so below. If you have to be, well, in order to be balanced, you really want to at least aspire to, if you're going to go that high, because otherwise, you came here to have this physical experience. You stood in line to be here. In fact, you won the lottery.
You came here to take a body. You know, it's like the Merkaba. When you see it, it's a geometric shape. It's not like tall. It's not bigger on the top and smaller on the bottom. It's equidistant from the midpoint.
Perfect.
So we have to remember these things.
Yeah, well, I think it's the way it's all designed. I think that there's a natural design that the people, the indigenous that live close to the earth were sensitive to and knew how to work within those constructs, and we forgot. And so this is a period where we get the opportunity, if we choose, to relearn, to remember, because it's all in there. It's all in the DNA and in every cell, but we're not accessing it. And okay, I have one more question, and then anyway, about star seeds. Okay. So Dolores Cannon talks about 3 waves, that there's these waves of beings that came in, like there was a call out to the universe, and beings from all over, from the light, decided to incarnate into Earth during this time, and she called it 3 waves. And you can almost see that in the teachers, where you have the Wayne Dyers and the people that or Ram Dass, that old school, or even before that, the teachers, at least in the last 40 years, that have shared their knowledge, and then it made their words, which have frequency, sort of set the foundation for the next teachers and next teachers. So I kind of like waves, the next waves. But the star seeds are do you believe they're all different age star seeds, or do you think that they're mostly, that's the name that you should use for someone who's 40 or below? Or what is a star seed to you?
Well, I'll tell you, Kathy, this is not something I've focused on. This is not my area of expertise. However, what I'm hearing is the first wave was the indigenous, the elders, the prophecies we've heard, everything that they've set us up with. We're in the second wave. And then the third wave, hang on a sec. Let's see if this is correct. The third wave is birthed with the new earth. And the third wave truly are like the seeds for the new beings, the new experiences we have on this planet. And it includes the animals. It's not just humans. When you think about the word seed, it's that third wave really is the wave that seeds the new life on the new earth. But all the other, the first and second wave was important because the first wave set the foundation for our understanding of what's going to be happening on the planet. And the second wave, we're like holding the line in between the first and third wave.
Interesting. That's a very different perspective than I've heard. Thank you. Thank you. Because I think anytime we use these identifier labels, I find they're restrictive. And in fact, They create a bias or a judgment, because if I say I'm Arcturian or what does that mean? I've read so many books and everybody says it's something different. It's a star. So there's got to be all these planets that people would say they're from there. So they're all different species of beings. So,
my orientation really is to source and to soul. And we talk about the soul journey in the Soul Power Symposium, how the soul goes on the journey, yes, travels to different universes, travels to different realms, realities, dimensions, gathers information from that. Right now on your soul journey, you happen to be in a human form, but that's just one tiny part of the entirety of your journey.
right.
And so it's, who cares if you were Palladian or Arcturian? It's fun to be activated in all of that. It's fun to gain that understanding, right? Like I'm not like dissing that, but at the end of the day,
right,
it's not any more than or less than any other soul on their journey, because every journey is unique and we all have different unique signatures and codes to bring forth into this expression.
perfect.
So that's the fun of being human.
Yes. Well, and I think that the idea is if we are good listeners, then I believe that everyone that comes into your field, every opportunity is a gift, even if it doesn't feel like it, that there's something to learn from it. And so that opportunity, if you put it in so if it's a gift and you say, oh, it's a gift, but it's not in a little box with a pink bow on it, I'm not accepting it, then you're missing the whole idea of what we're doing here, right? This is a great idea. You are a great idea as a fractal of God.
And that's why I like to interact with people with whom I resonate and with people with whom there's dissonance, because there's growth and learning on both sides in both ways.
Yes.
And they're both important.
Yes, yes. Well, in the perspective, if you want to have a higher view, a wider view, that is part of the all. And and if they're kind enough to have patience with you to show you their other perspective, then you get to see, I don't know.
No,
right?
that's really good. That's really good what you just said, because it's easier to hang out with people that you understand and that understand you. And then the ones that don't sometimes have the greatest gifts for us.
Right.
And if they're willing to hang out with us long enough to give us that gift, it can be quite beautiful.
Yes, yes. But again, that might be in hindsight more than during the time. But that's what I'm saying from my perspective. But anyway, so Susie, we're almost out of time. I want to make sure that everybody knows how to get a hold of you and how to join the Soul Power Symposium. I have been putting it in the comments and I have been putting it across as a banner, but do you want to share all the ways that people can connect with you and learn more about all your services?
Yeah, well, first of all, definitely join the Soul Power Symposium first and foremost, because this is just like, we've poured our hearts and souls into this to offer this for free. And so it's just a beautiful way to deeply receive in a deep way, at a deep level. If you want one-on-one work, then you can, I do have an option when you enter the symposium to have a one-on-one session with me. So you could do that if you wanted. And then definitely, purchase that replay package bundle, because you're not only going to get season 2, you're going to get season 1 as well. And when you purchase it, I'm going to send you the links to get season 1. as soon as possible after you purchase it. So I'm doing all of that manually. There's nothing auto set up in the system. But when you enter the symposium, just know and understand that you are entering a potent energetic container that can support you in moving forward on your spiritual path and in your soul journey. What we're doing in the symposium goes beyond this life. It goes beyond your human experience. And whether you feel that or not, just have that understanding and knowing that when I step into this container, I'm going to get assistance in multiple dimensions, realms, and realities so that I can continue with confidence on my soul journey. And so that's why I say purchase the replay package, because you'll get the chance to work with the content over and over and over. Yes, you'll get it free for 48 hours, but when you have it in your possession, you'll be able to get the inspiration when you need it on a day that when you're having a bad day, you can go back to this content and get some inspiration, get some support energetically for what you're going through in your life. And you can also go to creationtemple.com and you can find me there. But start with the Soul Power Symposium, because this is going to really help you set your foundation for being able to move forward in your world.
Oh, well, I'm sorry we're out of time. We'll have to do this again. And I really want everyone to experience the Soul Power Symposium because of the generosity and the love that's contained in it. Each one of these experts are masters, seriously. And so what you're getting is Susie created this container, which I know how much work this is because I've done 3 of these summits myself. And I know what you've been doing, and really accept the gift. Accept the gift. That's all I can say. Go to Soul Power Symposium and definitely sign up. And thank you, Susie. Thank you. You're such a blessing.
Kathy.
And we'll play more.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yes. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Please remember how powerful you are. These are tools to have you have access to who you really are. Thank you. Bye-bye.